All right, what's going on, everybody? I'm back to talk to you about Virgo and Pisces Part 2, the compatibility for second quarter 2019. Told you I'd be back. And this time we're going to talk about the things that are more relative to the personal planets, which are Mercury, Venus, and Mars. I didn't put the moon in it, but you know where the sun is going to be obviously for the second quarter, right? So I don't really have to touch on that. Plus, I mentioned it in Part 1, and if you didn't see Part 1, you should go see Part 1 before you get into this. Now, let's talk about, well, before I get into this, right, I want to make an announcement first. There is a TV show in Australia that Gina is going to be on next Tuesday called Husey, We Have a Problem. And it is a TV show aired in Australia by the Network 10. Network 10 is the network, and the cast is hosted by Dave Hughes. So what this show does is it's actually like a cast of comedians who actually assist or help the viewers and the contestants to solve their problems. So Gina is going to be on this show. Everybody representing, go check that out. If you can't, of course it's in Australia. We're going to try to get the footage over here, and if we can, we're definitely going to get the Instagram footage that Gina's going to have up on her Instagram. So you'll be able to see it there for all of us Americans and Britons alike and stuff like that. Now, all of my 1.7, all of you 1.7 Australian audience, I expect y'all to go out there and support Gina when she goes on this show. All right. So with that being said, is there anything else? Yes, there is something else too. Gina also has the first nude or topless. So let me say it correctly. Topless, okay, calendar. All right, first digital topless calendar, and incredible, like just awesome. Like I could just keep saying all of those words. Definitely the most beautiful woman I've laid eyes on. So it's out. Hold back on that though. Just pump the brakes on that just a little minute though, because I'm trying to get some things worked out with something that I've seen in the calendar. So once we get that adjusted, I'm going to promote that full-fledged. So I'm just waiting on the word, but I just wanted to put out there like the art that's in this calendar. It's like, yo, it's been amazing. You know what I'm saying? Excuse my language, but it's hard to like hold back from saying what I really want to say right now. You know what I mean? Maybe in secret houses I'll address this again. But yeah, those are the two things that I want to speak about for Gina. So support, and also, what else am I talking about? Gina's a Virgo also, so I'm about to get into this in a minute. One more announcement. The Patreon channel, I'm going to exhaust that. There's going to be no more Patreon channel for secret houses and the other things that I had began there. So now you're going to come directly to the website in order to gain access to Secret Houses podcast and whatever else that I got in store for the Pi channel and Private Investigation Enterprises. All right, so there will be information in the description box and through links how you'll be able to get in. It's going to be like a, same thing that applied to Patreon is going to apply. However, it's going to apply to my website instead. And that just comes from, and I'm about to even speak about, the first aspect, as a matter of fact, that I'm going to speak about is Mercury sextile Uranus. And this can pretty much explain of why I'm even thinking in this type of way. It's an innovative type of thinking that Mercury sextile Uranus presents, right? So it's an opportunity here because it's a sextile. And it's like this, right? And this is no disrespect to any company that I've done business with, especially Patreon as well, since I'm talking about them, right? But here's my thing, right? When you calculate things and you see and you go over things, you go read over the statistics and stuff like that, you start to understand, and it's not always monetary based, right? Because it's great to pay other people to do things for you and get things done for you. However, in the bigger scheme of things, when you actually detail how much time you have on your hands in comparison to the statistics, how they come back, the reports, and you may find out that, I can actually do this. So to make a long story short, right, because it sounds like I'm beating around the bush because I don't want to hurt nobody's feelings or whatever the case may be. This is what I'm trying to say. Like, wherever you can carve out the middleman, do so. Whenever you can carve out the middleman to where it's like, all right, question yourself. Do you truly need this person or these people for this? And how much does it cost, right? Because more money in your pocket is more for you. And that's the bottom line. You know what I'm saying? Now, I know the attitude of pay everybody, keep the money flowing and everything. Huge. I also know the attitude of being frugal and keeping things in a type of manner that is responsible to sometimes where you don't have to take so many risks. You know what I mean? I understand both sides of the spectrum. So this is just one of those things that clicked in my mind. I was like, well, you know what? Listen, the fees that are associated with it's one thing to have transaction fees through, through the merchant services and stuff like that, right? It's another thing to have fees associated with things that are automated that you can probably automate yourself through a website or whatever social network site that you're using, right? So if you have the skill to do so, and it doesn't take too much labor, it doesn't take too much time out of your day to where it's exhausting to you, I'd advise to do so. So that's pretty much what I've done. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I'm bringing about this video. I'm opening it up with Mercury sextile Uranus, and this actually ends today. So, I guess I'm kind of late on that. However, if you could utilize that in this last few seconds, go ahead. You know what I mean? You might have discovered after listening to this, like, yo, you know what? I did just have a real great invention cross through my mind. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, this placement is great for inventing things, So I was just also talking about, something that I always wanted to do. That's why I was inspired by seeing this calendar. I'm looking at it and I'm like, yo, this is wow, because, I've always wanted to do something along these lines with more things added to it. I'm not going to detail that publicly. I don't want nobody jumping on that completely. I want to be the first move on that. I'm probably going to be. It's kind of out there, you know what I'm saying? So I doubt anybody's going to do the exact thing that I'm doing. However, this is the type of opportunity that this type of placement presents, is pretty much what I'm saying. Like, you get this idea, you run it across someone, and they're like, yeah, that's a great idea. This is confirmation of this aspect. You understand what I'm saying? And so yeah, it's, being witty, being intelligent, and grasping future trends before it can happen. And you see something, you can be like, yeah, if this was this way, it'd be great. Or, if I just change this or move this around, this would be great. You know what I mean? So now, to extend on that, Mercury is going to be in the first house for Pisces during this aspect, and it's going to be in the 7th house of Virgo during this aspect, right? So boom, again, like I said, right? Me, Pisces, my first house, Mercury, my mind, how I process information. This goes for all the Pisces out there. You're going to be doing this in a self-type mode, right? You're going to be embodying this yourself, and you're going to be thinking about this. You're going to say, okay. You're going to be filing the information so that it makes sense. So what people say, so what Mercury falls in Pisces. Just pay attention to what I'm saying, focus on what I'm saying so you don't lose grasp and confuse yourself, all right? When these things come into play, should they be in any type of glamour field or anything that deals with entertainment or something like that, even better, because that's the field that Pisces rule in. You know what I mean? Graphic design, even web design, stuff like that, you're going to be even more in a better space. Right now, for Virgo, Mercury is inside of the 7th house, so this deals with business relationships. This deals with the romantic relationships, but to the higher octane, as I speak of before, like this is marriage type stuff. You know what I'm saying? So, the compatibility spoken about here or discussed here is going to be more along the lines of, bonding, being together in a relationship or a partnership of some type. You know what I mean? So again, the same way I explained it, I just explained it. I just ran it across, like, yo, what do you think about this? You know what I'm saying? She's like, that's a great idea. You know what I'm saying? So that's just like a small example. It's just an example. I'm not even going to call it small. It's a huge example, really, to be honest with you. But that's an example of what this does for these two signs. So Pisces and Virgo, utilize what I just said, perceive that well, and you'll see, Pisces, that you're not always alone. You can stop with that feeling that you're all alone right now, considering you have a Virgo, because this time right now, your mind, you won't be confused. You won't be confused. You're going to run it across someone that you confide in, and you're going to get the feedback, whether it's good or bad. You know what I mean? At least you know that there's someone that you can run it across, and that 9 times out of 10 that person, being a Virgo, is going to come from a place that is professional, because that's the house of Libra, right? Who takes relationships professionally. Like, yeah, okay, look, I got your back, or whatever you want to talk about, let's talk about it, because Mercury is the sign of discussion, right? Of intellect and speaking, right? So there you have that. Now, this whole, this sextile, again, it ends today. So, pardon me, I apologize, but, I tried to do this. I just wanted to put it in there, though, so you understand and probably get a little glimpse of what I'm talking about before it ends completely. So what do I want to talk about next? I guess let's talk about There is a conjunction between Venus and Pluto. I mean, Venus and Saturn. There's a conjunction between Venus and Saturn, and this lasts between February 11th to February 26th. Okay, so it takes place, both of these planets are on top of each other inside of the sign of Capricorn, right? So for Pisces, that's the 11th house. Networks, groups, friends, groups that bring dreams and wishes into fruition. These networks can be along the lines of corporate networks because it deals with the 11th house energy, which deals with corporate money and finances and stuff like that, right? So this could be on a more professional level, not just like the networks and groups that are associated with another house, right? So when you look here, like in a workplace or something like that. So here it's like this, right? Status is going to be something that's important right here. Romance is going to be serious though. So, you know, I joke often about Venus and Capricorn, you know what I'm saying? With friends and stuff too. We joke, you know what I mean? However, I've come to find out, right, that there can be a great asset to Venus being inside of the sign of Capricorn, and that is that, you know, although you may say, oh, you know, romance is supposed to be fun and this, that, and the third, if you are more along the lines of a serious person, or you're trying to be serious, right? Like a Pisces, you know what they say, Pisces should be grounded a bit, right? So if you got a Virgo there and you two are being compatible and you realize that Venus is conjunct Saturn inside of Capricorn, you get to realize, I'm like, okay, well, look, sure, we can be romantic, but are things taken care of? You know what I mean? So you're going to be interacting with each other on a level that is like, okay, how can we add money and seriousness and maybe being frugal, right? Because this can also be a sign that a placement rather that plans for long term. So with planning for long term, it's like, you know, you can't always behave like everything is okay to where you spend extravagantly and you just do whatever comes to mind or whatever you feel like, because Venus conjunct Saturn wants a long-term commitment, flat out. So Pisces and Virgo, this is what y'all are going to be experiencing right now when you interact with each other. Venus interaction to a more people. Attraction levels are going to be based on how well you express yourself when it comes to, hey, corporate matters, things that are revolving around organization. You know what I mean? It is what it is, you know. So for Virgo, it's going to be in their 5th house. And, you know, I wouldn't say feel sorry for Virgo in this aspect, because you got to be like, oh, man, it must suck to have a 5th house inside of Capricorn. There can be bouts of misery here. There can be bouts of low self-expression and really like non-expressiveness when it comes to romance. However, if you're keen enough and you have the intuitive ability, which Pisces does have, you'll understand that the interaction that your Virgo is having with you in this time during this placement is due to a sense of security that lets them know that they are going to be all right and that you're committed with this thing. Because that's when they'll actually open up more and express themselves on a romantic level when it comes to this house. Until then, you're going to be building on, you know, things that are structural, flat out. But this is not a terrible thing for Pisces, and this is why I say this is great for Pisces and Virgo, because again, 11th house is Capricorn for Pisces, so it's not going to be like I guess you could say the less advanced level of joining networks and groups like 3rd house groups, for example, like, you know, your neighbors or stuff like that. It's not like that. It's more along the lines of huge things, the huge things that you talk about, that you discuss with each other. Now, whether you're in the same industry or not, like, it doesn't even matter, because you guys are being compatible with one another, right? So these are probably the things that you come home and you discuss with one another. And if that's the case, then you both understand it from a corporate level, just because it's in the sign of Capricorn. So Pisces, you kind of luck up here with having a partner that has a 5th house in Capricorn in the solar chart, because otherwise it would just be fun, right? It'd be romance, it'd be speculative. You wouldn't be like trying to calculate if this thing is going to work long term or not. Romance, the 5th house is not naturally like that. And I've said this before in other videos. It's more along the lines of we're dating, we're seeing where this goes. We don't know what we're doing, we're just having fun. No one could be the wiser, right? But it's not until you get to that 7th house, which I just discussed, where Mercury is going to be at until March until the 13th, excuse me, till today, that you'll start understanding things on a more professional level and a more partnered level, if you will. But yeah, what other things that are associated with Venus conjunct Saturn is there's going to be money later on in life. So later on down the road, you're going to get that big money, that huge money. All right. So things going along the line of austerity, you should be careful about with this placement. But this is also a great placement for great management of. You can be an expert manager when it comes to finances. All right. So get your thinking cap on and find out, do the calculations, do the percentages, do all of that stuff. I know I'm in the process of doing it myself, so this is why even more I can attest to this being a real thing. But do that, and it may make you miserable. It may make you feel dry. It may make you feel not romantic. However, if you again have that intuition that Pisces definitely has, you'll understand that this is the way to get your feet planted, Pisces. This is the way for you to truly understand what it means to be committed to a relationship, however, at the same time, be committed to what it is that you like to do, career. Because both of you are going to want status and recognition when it comes to this placement. All right, it's going to be right amongst the top 5 of the list of factors inside of this placement. So, this is going to last until February 26th. So what it's going to do is it's going to give you a glimpse into how this can be, how this will be. Because remember, later on down in life, it gets greater later. You set the foundation here, or, you set the foundation here if you haven't set it already, and prepare yourself for what is to come. Now, Pluto is right after Saturn. We do know this, right? Still in the sign of Capricorn. So I'm going to speak about that next. Pluto is going to be conjunct Venus up until March 2nd. This begins on February 18th, though. So with this, right, power plays involving, or related to family funds are going to be here, and it's either going to be associated to your partner or it's going to be associated to a relative. So you're going to have to figure this out. Now, I know we're talking about compatibility here between Pisces and Virgo, so let's say that it is between Pisces and Virgo. This is where you start to understanding, or should I say even discussing, right? Because Venus is a planet of interaction. So you may start discussing, okay, again, we already came off of the long-term commitment from Saturn. Well, how are we going to make this a power play so that, we secure not only our lives, but the family lives as well, right? This is a great placement for this, should I say. Now, the power here is subtle, which makes it mysterious and sexy-like, you know what I mean? And that's all Pluto being in there and, doing what they do, like underneath the surface of stuff. You got to dig deep for that Pluto stuff, But again, Pluto is for survival methods as well. It's tactics being used here. So it's going to be tactical, this approach, right? So if you're keen, Virgo is an analytical eye. Pisces has deep intuition. You're going to pick up on these vibes. Now, be careful because there can be, love can be all consuming at this time. So between February 18th and March 2nd, love can just be all oozing out of both of your bodies and you may be all wrapped up in each other. You know what I mean? And with that can come jealousy. It can come possessiveness. So what you two need to do is trust each other, but trusting your self-esteem as well, building your own business endeavors, whether they're on the side or whatever the case may be, or your own things relative to career. And this will help you, your self-esteem will help you be okay with the bouts of jealousy you may feel, or the bouts of possessiveness, like that's my man, that's my girl, what are you talking about, get away, don't play with me, that type of stuff. This will quell all of that the more that you've built your self-esteem up, all right? But also, this placement will attract followers and admirers alike and money, all right? So take advantage of this, Pisces and Virgo, when this comes around. Now, there is another aspect that I need to talk about, and that is and that other aspect is Mars trine Venus. Okay, so you usually surround yourself with the best people, and usually is along the lines of things that are personally and business-wise, career-wise, right? So this is great. Now, this also brings about the best types of earning potentials as well. However, the offset of that is you can actually become extravagant in your spending. However, if you switch to long-term investments and saving up nest eggs for things that may occur out of the blue, like unexpected expenses, then you will build up sizable, significant assets for later on in life for you too. So yeah, do that. And you can also think about inheritance, family inheritance, some type of inheritance. I'm not sure exactly how it is, but one of those types of ways that inheritances will come from the actual management of money if you utilize it in the way that I just said later. You know what I'm saying? Not the former way, but the latter way. All right. So again, earning potential is among the best, but you got to be able to curb it. You got to be able to refrain from spending it the way that you got it, and you'll be better off for that. Now, for these two, of course, Venus again is in the sign of Capricorn. That's 11th house for Pisces, in the 5th house for Virgo. So the earning potential is going to be there as far as that goes, right? So that's where you're going to have to be using your ear to what each other says, so you'll understand how to structure, Capricorn, what it is that you're going to do and the implementation of it. Now, the Mars aspect of this is the action, the place that's actually going to take action for doing this, right? So this is where you're going to be harnessing your initiative to actually do the implementation. And for Virgo, it's going to be in the sign of Taurus, which is Virgo's 9th house in the solar chart, and Pisces' 3rd house in the solar chart. So this is great because both houses are learning houses. Okay, 9th house is learning on a higher level. 3rd house is learning on a basic level. 3rd house is learning on a local level, or even moving about and doing trips and running errands and stuff in a local area. So Pisces, if you're around your immediate community, your vicinity, or whatever the case may be, you may be doing things locally. You may be talking to neighbors, or you may just be establishing yourself more along the neighborhood, stuff like that, right? And you may be able to gain opportunities, or luckily you may even an exchange of luck may occur within your community as far as earning potential goes as well. So again, if you're interacting with your significant other, you might want to talk about your actual placements. Where are you at and what's going on where you are, right? Like, for example, Gina doing the show in Australia, that's abroad. That's 9th house stuff, right? So that's way across on the other side of the world. You know what I'm saying? But that's 9th house stuff. And here it is. I'm 3rd house. I'm stationed in New York. I'm communicating to you about what's going on in Australia. You see how that works right there? So again, this helps because I can give you firsthand experience of how this actually takes place from some examples that we use, right? So again, we know a trine is luck, with ease and luck. So you should not have to fight for this. At the same time, just be aware that, things that come easy, you be aware of them, just don't take them for granted. You know what I'm saying? So as I said, you got the earning potential here. You will get it. You'll get the monies and stuff. When you take action on what it is that you discuss. The key here is, how do you utilize it? How do you place that money around? You know what I'm saying? And that's the key to opening up things later on down in life. Pisces, please keep this in mind, because again, the first time that we spoke about Venus conjunct Saturn, we're talking about a long-term commitment here. You know what I mean? And for Virgo, that's their 5th house. That's how they see romance. So, right. So it's not like with other signs. It's not, you're like skipping over the whole, no worries, no thinking long term. You're just in the moment. No, not with the Virgo. No, you're not. All right. So this is your opportunity to get grounded with someone, Pisces. So take advantage of that as well. So I believe that's everything for now. Yes, it is. That is everything for now. Yeah. So that's second quarter 2019 for Virgo and Pisces. I hope you Virgo and Pisces lovers and significant others enjoy your Valentine's Day and all of that great stuff. And, I'll see y'all next time. I'm out.